everyone. Welcome. We're so excited to have you here at the Developer Keynote today. Not every project starts with a stand-up meeting or a sprint plan. Nowadays, sometimes it can start with a question as simple as, what if I just build this real quick? And this is all thanks to a brand new method of programming that we developers are calling vibe coding. Fancy. You can picture some sparkles around my face when I say that. And this is all thanks to the rapid exponential growth of AI. Instead of having to spend hours, weeks, days having to think about requirements, meeting with teams, having to work with specialists for various integrations, you can now just spin up an app using natural language, just a couple sentences. So when inspiration strikes, you can go right into your IDE and build your application. It makes it as easy as chatting, generating code, and refining that code, and doing that in a loop until you get to the correct piece that you want. And vibe coding lives on a spectrum. On one side, you have low-code, no-code tools that are visual, drag and drop. You don't need to write a line of code at all. And then we have tools like Cursor that are IDEs powered by AI that allow you to write code way faster than before. And this is at lightning speed. And developers typically slip and slide a little bit of a mix between the two, I would say. Sometimes we're using a mix of no code with code, and that really depends on the project, the deadline, and the amount of espresso shots consumed. But a wise person once said, one cannot code on vibes alone, and that wise person was me when I put together this presentation for the keynote. You need a couple things and considerations when vibe coding. You can't just run on pure vibes. You need access to corporate data. You need to be able to integrate into your existing systems. You need to be able to make very important considerations around security and authentication. And there's also deployment and operating, making sure that you are enterprise ready to get this live and build it at scale. And Workato's here to help. Instead of having to build all those connections from scratch, you can just have ready-made integrations and automations that can take care of all these things for you. So no need to think about the logistics of connecting directly to corporate systems, managing authentication, and also you're going to be set up success for deploying long-term. It isn't just a prototype or a demo app that you're spinning up. And vibe coding isn't just fast with Workato, it's fast, and most importantly, it's enterprise ready. So you don't have to think about losing your momentum while you're vibe coding. All of it is built in with Workato. So even if you're dealing with complex backends or routes or connectivity issues, or maybe you're really worried about security considerations if your developers are vibe coding, then you can keep the good vibes going and you don't have to wrestle with all of the setup. So let's see this in action. I've talked about it a lot, but Jasper's actually been vibe coding something that I'm really excited for you guys to see. All right, Jasper, what have you been vibing on?
Yeah, thanks, Chloe. So this is our DUI Design Co app. It's a solution that we developed for the marketing team. Following up on that MCP demo we did a couple of minutes ago, that wasn't enough for them. They wanted to take that integration work 10 steps further. So here's what they told us. Right? They wanted a more unified view of all their projects. Chatting with the agent was good, but they still wanted to be able to visualize everything that they had going on. They wanted to be able to attach assets easily from Google Drive, from Figma, from Adobe, and they wanted it to look really, really nice. So that's exactly what we built for them. Right? We can view our projects here on the dashboard, dig into the product launch. We can view all of the tickets in a view that makes sense for them. I could dig into each one of the tickets and attach assets directly from those apps with live integrations. And I can even view the Jira sync history.
And this is just mock data for the sake of the keynote, or is this actual data?
This is live data, right? So if you, let me jump back to my previous demo for a second here. Right? We have design 67, 68, and 69 that got created by the AI agent. And those are actually the top 3 tickets in the to-do column directly in the app. This is like live integration as we're doing the demo. And like I think like this is one of the most, the coolest parts about this is that this entire app was built entirely through conversation. I didn't actually do any API development. I didn't do authentication or server management, anything.
Wow, it sounds like a lot of work across multiple teams, but built with just conversation, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if we had to do this the traditional way, it would have taken me quite a long time if I was implementing OAuth and implementing secure credential management and error monitoring, logging, et cetera. There's like, your backend team would end up spending weeks just trying to research the APIs, doing requirements gathering, building it all out, and they'd have to go through rounds of security and IT reviews, and it would just be a big headache. And that's before you even get to the front end, right? I didn't even talk about what it took to get this nice UI connected to a fully hosted backend.
Okay, this is looking really cute. I love how this looks, but it's not super useful without our data connected to it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it looks great, but it's not super useful without that data. So we started with just the front end, right? We built the app in conjunction with the marketing team, and we made a really nice prototype. And we used the tool called Replit. If you're not familiar with Replit, it's a coding platform that allows you to to build beautiful applications just through AI conversation. So for example, here I am on the Replit home screen, and I can just type a message in, like, I want to make a project management app for marketers that includes the ability to sync projects from Jira, attach assets from Google Drive, Figma, and Adobe, and hit Start Building. What you get after a few minutes of thinking is something like this, right? You get a proposed design. And we took that initial design and went through several iterations of real-time feedback with our marketing team to get to the state that you saw in the live app. So we just, through conversation, the marketing team said, hey, we want to have subtasks, and we want to be able to have better asset previews. So we built that just by prompting the agent to do so. And we finally ended up with what you saw today.
Okay, so we vibe coded the front end, and we have the back end now. How do we use Workato to connect those things together?
Yeah, so I'm excited to talk about a new integration, actually, that we built with Replit. So here on the Replit Integrations tab, we can see Workato is a new external service that we can connect directly into Replit next to all the other tools that you would use to build your Replit app. And we can open that up, configure it, and it's super fast. You just put in your host, your API token. Replit stores those things securely as environment variables. And what that does is it actually gives the Replit agent a whole new suite of tools that allow it to use the entire Workato platform to help build up the app. So in our agent, I prompted it with, hey, create an API collection in Workato. And it used the CLI to, it first made a mistake, ran the help function to correct itself, then did it with the right syntax, and it finally created an API collection in Workato. And I didn't have to actually write any of the code, and I didn't even have to go into the Workato UI. That meant that I could stay in the tool that I was working in, but the agent actually helps me build up my entire backend. And I want to really hit on this point because one of the most challenging pieces about building these applications is that in order to get the backend built, it's so much backend work to do it in a way that is enterprise ready and at scale. And Workato can really help with that. And we can have an agent that has the ability to spin that stuff up with very, very specific dedicated tools. You can get up and running that much faster. So what we got in Workato as a result was we have this GUI design API, which has all of the endpoints that are needed to actually drive the app, that have CRUD operations on projects, and it has endpoints to list the available users, to understand who's authenticated, and it has options to create tasks directly in the app. So we have this fully integrated backend. We just used the agent in Replit to finish the implementation of the API through just natural language, and then we have everything kind of connected. The final result is that we get a API client created with a key that gets sent back to the Replit agent securely, and then it can use that to finish the implementation, basically.
Wow, I hope everyone in the room really understands how much of a game changer this is. Spinning up something like this could typically take anywhere, depending on the requirements or the different endpoints that you need, six months probably, Jasper, is that right?
Easily,
Yeah.
easily. I mean, I think with the traditional flow, this would have taken months of requirements gathering and planning and engineering work, deployment of servers. But with Workato, I was able to do this in just a matter of days. Right? It was a single developer. I didn't need 6 different specialized development teams. I coded the front end. We had real-time feedback from the marketing team where they got to provide feedback on their requirements, build it out exactly as they wanted. and we're left with this app, right? That they're like, okay, we want to include a timeline view. We built that out. It's just like super easy to build these surfaces perfect for whatever your use case is. And I really think that this is the future of application development. We can just take our ideas and turn them into beautiful apps with fully hosted, enterprise-grade infrastructure driving them using Workato.
Wow, that's so exciting. It really is kind of the future of programming, allowing a lot more time for innovation and being more creative. And it sounds like you got to involve the marketing team as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's really, really awesome stuff here.
All right, well, I think Adam has a special guest that he wants to bring on stage, so let's welcome Adam back.
Yeah.
All right, can we get a hand for the demo with Replit? Chloe, Jasper?
Thanks, everyone.
Super cool. Good vibes all around. Replit is amazing, and if you haven't tried it, you really need to. And I'd like to invite up a special guest. I'd like to invite up Scott Kennedy, Vice President of Engineering from Replit, who's joined us. Welcome. Hey. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Well, I am a big fan of Replit. It's been a joy to use it and experiment with it. Explain a little bit of the magic. Like, what do you see your users doing in use cases? Tell me why it's taken off so much.
Yeah, Replit's vision has always been one about empowerment. It's sort of fitting that you call this a developer keynote, even though not everyone's a developer. We always wanted anyone who had an idea for software to be able to bring it to life. And last year, when we launched the first generally available coding agent, I think that really started to happen, and so you saw it take off. All sorts of people could build apps who couldn't before.
And you could take an idea, and instead of like writing a document, you could just start iterating on what that app would look like. It's almost like magic.
Yeah, it's almost rapid fire of what software engineering's always been. It's just the fun part now.
That's just
Take out a lot of the grind and gluing APIs together and just see things come to life.
Well, my experience in dev is often what's not the fun part is figuring out how to go from a prototype to production and get real data and get sign off from my CISO and like get actual access to the apps and stuff. So that feels like a really good opportunity for Replit and Workato together.
Yeah, absolutely. We want people to be able to bring Replit to work, and we see people doing that. They have ideas how to make their job more efficient. Maybe some SaaS they don't think they need a license for, or that tool doesn't work well for them. And the key is really doing data access in a secure way. And so that's where someone like Workato can be someone natural to work with for us, because you do that really well.
Yeah, that integration is really exciting. The new, for those of you that are in the know, the Workato CLI is brand new, and to see that available inside the Replit agent, so their Replit agent is calling into Workato to provision the things it needs. It's a really great integration. Excited to see where we take it. Can we get a hand for Replit? Scott Kennedy. Thanks again, Scott. Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Adam.